Donald Trump attended various parties with Jeffrey Epstein. I want to know, were there any underage girls at that party or at any party that Trump attended with Jeffrey Epstein?
This is so ridiculous.
Another document from a witness who called the FBI's National Threat Operations Center, because I believe you just lied under oath. There is ample evidence in the Epstein file.
Don't you ever accuse me of a crime.
I believe you just lied under oath.
In a moment that's now exploding across political media, Congressman Ted Lieu didn't just question Attorney General Pam Bondi. He went straight for the jugular, accusing her of protecting powerful figures linked to Jeffrey Epstein, and then escalating it into a full-blown allegation of lying under oath. This wasn't a debate. This wasn't a disagreement. This was a public confrontation at the highest level of government. And the implications, they're massive. Because if what Lieu is suggesting is even partially true, we're not talking about politics anymore. We're talking about accountability, justice, and potential cover-ups at the top. If you want content that breaks down moments like this, without filters, without spin, and without protecting powerful people, make sure you subscribe right now. Because what you're about to see isn't just another hearing. It's a moment that raises serious questions about who is really being protected and why.
I'm going to show you two photos of former Prince Andrew. Prince Andrew attended various parties with Jeffrey Epstein. Under the law Congress passed, you were allowed to redact photos to protect the victims of Epstein's sex trafficking operation. You redacted the photos of this victim's face because you were following the congressional law. Is that correct?
I'm sorry that we redacted the victim's
Because you were following the congressional law, correct?
Yes.
Okay. You have now established that please put the photos back up, that we are looking at a sex trafficking victim. Under the Federal Victims Trafficking Protection Act, not only is Jeffrey Epstein guilty, but anyone who patronizes Epstein's sex operation is also guilty of a crime. That's why I find it absolutely despicable that you sought to protect Epstein's clients, like former Prince Andrew. Last July, you closed the case on Epstein's abusers. The July 2025 memo from your Department of Justice stated, quote, "We did not uncover evidence that could predicate an investigation against uncharged third parties." These two photos, please put the photos back up. These two photos staring you in the face are evidence of a crime and more than enough evidence to predicate an investigation against former Prince Andrew. So I ask you, Attorney General Pam Bondi, why did you shut down this investigation last July, and why have you not prosecuted former Prince Andrew?
I don't believe you asked Merrick Garland these questions when he was Attorney General and set before
I agree with you.
You twice.
I'm reclaiming my time. I agree with you. I agree with you. During the Biden administration, I called for people looking at Epstein files. Merrick Garland dropped the ball, as did Attorney General Bill Barr, as did Alex Acosta, a whole string of failures. But you are in charge. You have the power to change things, to hold these men accountable, and you're doing the opposite. You're protecting them. So I want to move on to another man.
Can I answer
Donald
that,
Trump.
though?
I want to move on to another
question. Can I answer your question about protecting
You answered the question.
You're saying no. I love this.
I want to discuss another man, Donald Trump, who is all over the Epstein files, like former Prince. Here's the video. Like former Prince Andrew, Donald Trump attended various parties with Jeffrey Epstein. I want to know, were there any underage girls at that party or at any party that Trump attended with Jeffrey Epstein?
This is so ridiculous, and that they are trying to deflect from all the great things Donald Trump has done. There is no evidence that Donald Trump has committed a crime. Everyone knows that. This has been the most transparent presidency. He's the one that asked that those files
I'm reclaiming my time.
be released.
I got your answer. You said there's no evidence.
President Trump asked
Mr. Chairman, please stop the clock.
Stop
the clock.
legislation.
Time.
This is
Time.
this
I'd like
is
to
ridiculous.
take my time.
Time belongs to the gentleman from California.
Okay. I'm going to put up another document from a witness who called the FBI's National Threat Operations Center because I believe you just lied under oath. There is ample evidence in the Epstein file.
Don't you ever accuse me of a crime.
I believe you just lied under oath, and this is all on videotape. You said there's no evidence of a crime. I'm showing you, here is a witness statement who called into the FBI's Threat Operations Center. He drove Donald Trump around in a limo. He overheard what Donald Trump said to Jeffrey on his cell phone. He was so angry, he was going to stop the limo and hurt Donald Trump. And he met a girl who said she was raped by Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein. She later had her head blown off, and officers at the scene said that could not have been suicide. No one at the Department of Justice interviewed this witness. You need to interview this witness immediately. Epstein should rot in hell, so should the men who patronized his operation. And as we sit here today, there are over 1,000 sex trafficking victims, and you have not held a single man accountable. Shame on you. If you had any decency, you would resign right after this hearing concludes.
The gentleman has expired.
May I respond?
Yeah, I don't know how you respond. No one can.
I did not ask a question, Ms.
He doesn't
You're
want
allowed
to talk
to.
about
I did
the
not ask a
horrific
question.
crime in California. He does not want to talk about
I did not ask a
crime
question.
in his
She
state.
can't just
Madam
add
Attorney
lib
General.
stuff. I did not ask a question.
Meeting will be in order. The gentleman has yielded back his.
Let's get straight to it. The core of this confrontation wasn't just about Jeffrey Epstein. It was about something much bigger. Why has no one been held accountable? Ted Lieu laid out a devastating argument. He presented photos, referenced federal law, and pointed directly at individuals like Prince Andrew, arguing that there was enough evidence to at least open investigations. But according to a Department of Justice memo from July 2025, the case was effectively shut down. No further investigations, no new prosecutions, no accountability for alleged clients. And that's where Pam Bondi's position becomes incredibly difficult to defend. One, the no evidence claim Bondi's response? There is no evidence that Donald Trump has committed a crime. That statement is what triggered the explosion, because Lieu didn't just disagree, he immediately escalated. I believe you just lied under oath. That's not rhetoric. That's a direct accusation of a federal crime. And here's the problem. Lieu then referenced a witness statement, someone who allegedly contacted the FBI, claiming to have heard disturbing conversations and even describing an alleged victim. Now, whether that claim is ultimately true or not isn't the point. The real issue is this. Why wasn't that witness fully investigated? If the Department of Justice didn't follow up, that raises serious concerns about selective enforcement. If they did follow up and dismissed it, then the question becomes, on what basis? Because simply saying there's no evidence doesn't address the existence of claims, testimonies, or leads. Two, the pattern of deflection. Instead of directly addressing the substance of the accusations, Bondi pivoted. She brought up Merrick Garland. She brought up previous administrations. Now, to be fair, Lieu himself acknowledged that multiple officials across administrations failed to act, but that actually makes Bondi's position worse, not better, because she had an opportunity to break the pattern, reopen investigations, show independence. Instead, the criticism is that she did the opposite. She continued the same pattern of inaction. And in politics, continuity can sometimes be more damaging than failure because it suggests something systemic. 3, the Epstein files problem. This is where things get even more explosive. Lieu made a broader claim, over 1,000 victims, and not a single powerful client held accountable. That's a staggering statement. If true, it points to one of the biggest failures of justice in modern history. And whether you believe Lieu or not, here's the uncomfortable reality. The Epstein case has long been surrounded by missing transparency, limited prosecutions, unanswered questions. So when Bondi defends the status quo, She's not just defending a legal position, she's defending a system that many people already deeply distrust. 4. The optics of the exchange. Let's talk about optics, because in politics, optics matter. When Lieu says, "Shame on you. If you had any decency, you would resign." That's not just criticism. That's a public indictment of credibility. And Bondi's reaction? Defensive, dismissive, confrontational. At one point, she responds, "Don't you ever accuse me of a crime." But here's the issue. When you hold a position like Attorney General, scrutiny isn't optional. It's the job. And responding emotionally instead of systematically dismantling the accusation can make things worse, especially on camera. 5. The bigger question, protection or failure. This entire exchange boils down to one uncomfortable question. Is this a case of protection or incompetence? Because those are the only two explanations critics are left with. Either investigations weren't pursued aggressively enough, or they were deliberately avoided, and neither option inspires confidence. What made this moment so powerful wasn't just the accusation. It was the lack of clear resolution. No definitive answers, no new commitments, no indication that anything will change. Just a confrontation, caught on camera, now circulating everywhere. And that leaves the public with one lingering question. If this level of accusation can happen openly in Congress, what's happening behind closed doors?